everyone, it's Morgan.
And it's Zane.
And we're here in the Ariel Foundation Teen Makerspace. And today we're going to be showing you how to make your very own plushy koalas.
Look how cute they are.
They are so cute. Yours will not be gray, they will be in multicolors, but let's just jump right in. Hey everyone, so for this week's craft bag, you should have a sock, a piece of a black sock, 2 button eyes, a sewing needle, which is super dull. It should not hurt if you poke yourself. You'll need a pair of scissors and a Sharpie, and along with your needle, you should have a piece of thread. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is move some of this stuff out of the way.
Just for reference, guys, I'm not as good at sewing as Morgan is here, so if anything, mine might look a lot like how yours will turn out.
Yeah, I've had a lot of practice, but hand sewing is very, very simple. It's not as complicated as a sewing machine. Your black thread, if you take a look at it, you'll see that it can actually pull apart. So you're going to want to grab 2 of the strands and then slowly, very slowly pull them apart. You don't want to do this fast because you see how the string is spinning at the bottom. You want it to spin so it doesn't knot up on itself. If it starts knotting up on itself, just let it kind of droop and it should spin and unwind. All right, there we go. Now I have 2 pieces. And just go ahead and make sure this is unravel, and it should twist out. So keep this extra. There should be 4 strands left here. Yeah, you can see that you can pull them apart again. We're going to pull this apart once again, but for now we're just gonna leave this over on the side. You can kind of see that it's twisting a little. You wanna undo that so it lays flat. Kind of just run your fingers through it. Okay, how are you coming along, Zane?
It is knotting up like
crazy. So let me see this real quick. So if this happens to you, like this here, you're going to want to try to grab this big knot and pull it back the way that you had it. Like that. So see, it's starting to like just be a normal string again. So do that. If that happens, just find where you left off and you'll just have to really work it out. You might have to actually pull them all apart at that point. So you might just have to like really look at it and undo it. If you're having like extreme problems, then I might see if you guys have thread around your house and maybe grab some more of that, but that's why it's definitely good to go really, really slow. There's Zane.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, so see if that happens, you just gotta take your time, figure out where you went wrong and backtrack a little, and then save the rest of this over there. So that happens a lot actually, so I'm kind of glad that yours did that so I could show you what happens when things go wrong. Okay, so leave your string up there. Now you're gonna wanna take your sock. We both picked gray and we gave you guys the way more fun colors, but we thought we would make a classic koala bear. So you're gonna want to pretty much see how it would be, like find the heel and make it so it's like a regular sock, like you'd be walking. And once you do that, you're gonna wanna flip it over, okay? So the heel part, think of this as like the nose of the koala. Because once you put stuffing in it, then you're going to, it's gonna be a little more protruding. Yeah, I was like, it's gonna leave a little bump. Okay, so you should have markers in your bag as well, since you guys got Australia coloring pages. And once you find where your nose is, you're going to take the Sharpie and just make a little round trail similar to this right above the nose. I would give it like an inch above the heel part like that. in just a little arch. That's all you need. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and cut that off. So again, it's this side that you're cutting, the opening side, and this is going to be used for the ears later. So don't cut it all up, just cut just that part.
How's that look?
Yep, that looks good. So go ahead and make sure it's like even like this when you're cutting it. I got ones that were specifically for fabric. So once you have this cut in a nice round arch, go ahead and put this over to the side. For now, we're going to use that later. Now we're going to start sewing. And how you do that is you're going to take your needle and thread. I would go ahead and start by tying the end. If you guys have never hand stitched before, all you want to do is take this piece, wrap it around your finger like so, like once. You can even do it twice, and then roll it off your finger, and then it should kind of look like this, and then you just want to pull the knot and knot it all up. So you have something like that, and when you pull on it, it should not come off. If you have to do it again to make the knot even bigger, go ahead and do it again, and then you should have a little lasso, and then you're going to want to pull it tight like that. Okay? So after that, you're going to take your needle and your thread, the other end that's not knotted, and stick it through like so. And leave a little bit of the string like this, maybe a few inches down, and then you're going to want to hold on to this while you're stitching. So I'm going to do it one more time.
I was still cutting my fabric over.
I know, it's kind of it's a little difficult sometimes. So to tie a knot, because we're going to do this multiple times, you take the string and wrap it around your finger, and you can even do it twice like that. Then you roll it off of your hand and make it into kind of like a ball like that.
Oh, I kind of remember
And then,
this.
yeah, and then you pull it tight and make sure it does not like come off with your fingernails when you're giving it a tug. And then all you have to do is take the other end that's not being used, kind of, if you have like a string that's a little hanging over than the other one, just snip that off so they're even. It just makes it a lot easier when you're threading the needle. And you take this, I mean, you can lick your fingers if you want, or just roll it. These needles are a lot bigger. The eyes, which is where you thread the needle, you're gonna go ahead and put that through here. And then again, leave a few inches of this string right there. So after you have your needle threaded, you want to make sure that both of these sides are lined up, and you're just going to start at the end. Just pick one of the ends and stick your needle through the sock like this and pull it through. And to really make sure that your knot stays, because the fabric is really loose fabric, so that kind of just means that the needle goes through it very easily, so the knot can come out very easily. So what you want to do is make a loop. So find the knot and go right next to it and bring it through again. So you're making a little lasso on the end. But once you have that done, you can go ahead and start just hand stitching. So I'm just going to go through the back like this into the front of the sock, and give yourself about 1 centimeter, because if you get too close to the edge where it's cut, a lot of the threads are fraying, so that will make the needle like pull through all of the fabric. So you need to have a little bit of space between like where you start sewing and the edge, kind of like your hem is what you would call it. And then you just take that after you have it through, and then go right behind it and bring it on back. And now you're just stitching it up so we can put stuffing in and none of it falls out. So you go in through the back about 1 centimeter down, out through the front, pull it on through, make sure you don't get all knotted up. Like this. If this happens to you where there's a knot, just slowly work it out. Don't pull too hard. You might have to have your needle to help you like undo it. So see, I got like a pretty bad knot right here, but that's fine. Okay, just keep on going. And make sure that you're following the curve of the stitch where you have the marker, because you don't want the top of your koala head to be flat. We want it to be round like an actual koala. Okay, I'm gonna keep on sewing here, but I will meet you at the end of this and show you how to tie the knot. Okay guys, so once you get to the end of this, like after you have sewn all the way to the other side, I'm going to show you how to tie a sewing knot. If you already know how to do this, go ahead and do it how you do it. But for me, I'm going to go in one more time and pull it through so it's almost all the way through, but you leave kind of like a little loop at the end, and you're going to take your needle and just go right through it and pull it through slowly.
Now, does this have to be on the very end of the line that we just made here, or can this be anywhere?
It can be anywhere. That's just how you tie a knot. But specifically this time we're doing at the very end, so we keep all of the stitching and stuffing inside. But I always make 2 knots, or sometimes 3 depending on what it is. So after that, you want to find where you had the stitch and get really close to like the thread area, and you're gonna poke your needle through again, pull it through like you have been doing, and then leave a little lasso, and then once again put your needle through and pull it tight. And I will do it one more time. Get pretty close to where the thread is, or you could even go under the thread or through the thread that you have already tied. It's kind of hard with these bigger needles, but
you just run it through down here?
Yep, you take it and then you make a little lasso like this. You put your needle through here, put it through the little lasso, and then pull it tight.
Cool.
Okay.
And you said you do about 2 or 3 of these?
2 to 3, yeah, depending on how you feel.
And they should be towards the corner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you want it in the corner so no stuffing comes out. And then once you have that, maybe leave about 1 centimeter of thread so you don't get too close to the actual knot. And then you cut it off right there. Once you have that,
the edge here?
Yep, you can cut it right there. Okay guys, once you have that done, you're going to cut the bottom part open. Okay, then you should have a hole at the bottom. I know we just sewed up a hole, even though we could have just flipped it inside out the other way, but then we want to have this like cute little nose area for the koala, so
you're
that's
saying just
what that's
like
for.
To cut this part right here,
Yep,
right?
just cut pretty much where the toe is. Like you guys can see that this is the toe seam right here, and I cut pretty close to where the toe seam is. But once you have that, we're going to take this and flip it inside out. So you can kind of see that you almost have like a little sock puppet looking thing right now, similar to that. Now we're gonna take the stuffing that you have in your bag, leave about this much for one of the ears, and then another one about that size too for the other ear, and leave that to the side. You just want to make sure you have enough for ears later. But the rest of the stuffing you can take and start putting it inside of your koala.
Puff it up.
Yeah, make it a plush. And this is the moment of truth where you see if you're stitching held up right through here. So if you have any gaps or any like stuffing showing, you can always just take out your stuffing, flip the sock inside out, and then do a little quick stitch to fix the part that is coming undone. It happened to me the first time I made it, so even with years of sewing experience, I still donked up a little. And you can even kind of leave like a little area where it kind of looks like his neck, and then the rest can be like the bottom of his chub.
I'm definitely going
Little
for some
fluff.
chub.
Definitely. Chubbier the koala, the better. Once you're happy with how chubby your koala is, go ahead and flip it over to the bottom again. So I'm going to show you guys now how to do a running stitch. So take your needle and your thread that you have left over. If you don't have any thread left over from this, repeat the first part where you take your other thread and then slowly pull it apart in twos. If it's easier for you to pull it apart in singles and then just put the strings together at the end, that's also fine. Just make sure it doesn't get tangled up. That's the only thing that is difficult. But if you have extra, go ahead and take the end of your string and tie a knot again. So put it around your finger, roll it off your finger, and tie a little knot, just so my knot is extra strong. I think that is a pretty decent sized knot right there.
So you gotta loop it around twice around your finger here?
Yep, loop it around twice.
And slide her off?
Yep, make sure it's really tight.
I can get it tight.
That, and then roll it off, and then hold it like
okay.
that. And you can do it again too, like even if there's a knot at the end, you can roll it twice and then pull it again.
Yeah.
Perfect, good job. See, even Zane can tie a knot. Perfect. Now I have the utmost faith in all of you guys to tie knots. And if my video is not sufficient, I am sure there are tons of YouTube videos that you can look up and get really close and see exactly how they tie knots with their fingers. I know there's a YouTube video for everything out there, so they definitely have a sewing one. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and do a running stitch. So start with wherever on the bottom of your koala and start from the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it through where the really thick part of the like toe area is, and pull that through. Oops, see how like it just pulled right out? So if that happens, just do it again. Your knot just might not be big enough. But I'm going to open up my string a little bit here and pull it apart like where the knot is. So you kind of have like, let me show you guys. So you kind of have like a little lasso where your knot is. And go ahead and put your needle through that and pull, and then you make a little loop around the edge of this, so then it's not going to go anywhere. After you have that done, how you make a running stitch is you just make big stitches along the side. So you go in and then back out, and these are really large. In and then through again. I would say about like a centimeter apart. See how wide these two are? So in, and then back out, in, back out. There will probably be only about 10 stitches. So in, and then back out. We're almost making a giant pouch. That's how I would describe it. No pun intended, since koalas are marsupials,
yeah,
and they do have pouches. But we are making this koala into kind of a pouch. So again, in and back out. Even if it's a little like wonky at this part, you still want to go down and then in and then back out, and then we're almost to the other side again. And I think I have about 10 stitches here. In and back out. Once you have that, you're going to pretty much pull it slowly. And see, you pretty much just make a pouch. And what you're gonna wanna do with all this excess is just fold it in. We're gonna push it back inside. And try to make it flush. Once you have that, take your thread and you're just going to stitch right across and make a big X. So pull it through and then go to the other side where you didn't put your needle through yet and push it through. And I would do that about 4 to 5 times. So find a spot you haven't made an X through yet, and then pull it through. And then I'm gonna go back under here, and then up, and pull it through. And then I'll do it one more time. Pull it through. Okay, so you should have a pretty much sealed koala butt. And then we're just gonna tie a knot. So find the spot that you want to make your knot. And then we just do what we did before. Go under black thread, make a little lasso, and then pull, or put your needle through and then pull it tight. And then do that 2 more times. Make a little lasso, needle through, and pull it tight.
Might give me some assistance tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Let me tie this knot up real quick. Okay, let's see how Zane is doing over here.
I've got a pretty exposed butt right here.
Okay, that's fine. If that happens, just push it together. See how his is like kind of pulling apart a little bit like this? That's fine. You just want to keep it closed together like that. And then, oh, you don't have your needle on. That's another thing that we need. Thank you. It just might have fallen out. I'm gonna thread the needle again. Whoop. Your eyesight is probably better than mine, so it'll be easier for you. Leave a little bit of the thread exposed here. But these big parts that are kind of flopping around, I'm gonna just go ahead and put the needle through and then force it to be friends with the other side. Okay, like that. So then this side that's kind of floppy, I'm going to force it to be friends with this side. And then I'm gonna pull that together, so that's making an X. So see, it's already pretty much.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. So yeah, you're just trying to force 2 sides to be friends. I'd say that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Take this little flappy part, force it to be best friends with this side, and pull it through. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make Zane a little knot right here. And then even with a tiny, tiny lasso, you can still usually get your needle through. And there you have it. Now his butt looks better.
Very
okay,
cool, thank you.
So you are welcome. Okay, go ahead and cut your string off. All right.
I mean, even if you wanted to stop now, you'd still have a big squishy ball.
That's true. If you're just like so done, you just want a big, like, colorful ball that's fluffy, that's good. But if you want a koala, keep watching. So once you have your string cut and everything stitched up perfectly, we're gonna go ahead, and you probably have run out of your first thread like I have. This is pretty short to keep sewing. So we're gonna go back to the big piece of thread and find 2 pieces. So go ahead and take the string and make it all flat and nice, and put one of those pieces to the side because we still might need it at the end. Tie a knot at one of the ends. It does not matter which one. Do the same thing. Twist it around your finger. Roll it off your finger with your thumb and pull it tight with your index and thumb finger. Then take your needle. Go ahead and find the eye. If it gets frayed kind of like that, just take the scissors and snip a little bit off and then thread it. Way easier. Once you have that, just put it to the side and then find your gray, or well, you guys won't have gray, find your colorful piece of fabric, and then we're going to cut ears out of this. So you're going to want to make a circle. If you're not the best at cutting circles out, go ahead and draw the circle on to the fabric with your marker.
So you can take up most of the...
Yeah, I would make them as big as you possibly can. See, it even takes us a little bit of time. So if this takes you a minute, that's totally fine. Just make sure they're close to being even with each other, roughly about the same size. That's why I'm trying to cut them back to back at the same time. All right, there we go. So I don't have the most perfect circles, but they're pretty all right. So you should have something that looks like this. We're going to make another running stitch with them. So this is kind of like when we made the pouch part for the bottom here, for this koala. So take the, I guess one side might be the bad side because you might see a little bit of the marker that you use. If not, you don't have a bad side. So, but I do. So I'm gonna start with that. Once again, I'm going to take my needle and go through the top of the bad side and push it through because we want to hide the knot on that side. And I'm just going to do...
How far into it
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be putting it in?
I would do a centimeter again. Like I would get pretty, like stay a little bit away, like maybe like this much away from the edge, just so your thread doesn't pull out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that one thing where I make a little lasso and stick my needle through and pull this all the way through without making a huge knot somehow. And then there. Then it will not come off of this ear. Once you have that, you're going to do a running stitch. So these are big, so you wanna go in and then about a centimeter over, go back out, and then you go in again about a centimeter away from each other, and then back down. And you can see how big my stitches are right here. See, they're pretty large. And then in again. Yeah, you don't want to pull it too tight right away. Try to keep it flat and loose for now because it'll start, like, see if you pull it too tight, it starts like rolling up into a ball. We want to do that, but we want to do that at the very end. I'm going to do this to both of these ears as well. And you should have enough thread to do both of them without switching. So once you have that, you're going to want to start pulling it so it does start closing up on itself. Kind of make like a little bowl almost, like that. And then you're gonna want to take the stuffing that you had left over and kind of fold it up into a nice ball like this, and then hold it in place and then start really closing this around it. If you have too much stuffing, you'll know, and then you'll have to take some out, but you should be able to kind of just make a little satchel. And be careful, don't pull the string too hard, or you might snap it, and then you'll have to do the running stitch again. But once you have your little pouch, and mine is very full, I think I put a little bit too much stuffing in there, but I'm gonna stick with it. Once you have that, we're going to do what we did to the bottom of the koala again, where we make each side become friends with each other. So we take the needle from this side here and push it all the way across, and then pull it through. And then it's still going to want to come apart, but definitely not as much as it was at first. And then we go to this side, push it through, make them like each other, and pull it together. If you want, you can kind of like start putting the fur back in like that, and then you can do it again and pull it through. I'm gonna do this about 5 times. So once you have your ball like that, go ahead and tie a knot at the end, and you can just wait for a second. Okay, go ahead and find your little lasso and pull it through, and do that 2 more times if you would like. I think that last one was good enough, so I'm just gonna do it twice. And then I'm gonna trim this off. Okay, so once you have one of these balls, you can see about how big it's gonna be, like on your ear. And you're gonna wanna take the other one and do a running stitch the same way. So go ahead and tie your big knot again with your piece of thread. And go ahead and start pretty much again wherever you want. Okay guys, so once you have this pretty much like the other one, you're gonna wanna do the same thing. Make a little cup, like that, and then take your stuffing again. I know this part is a little difficult. You have to just like maybe hold it in your hand while you pull it together. Great, and then again, go across this direction with an X. Do that a few more times, 3 to 4 more times for these, because these are very, very small and very, very tight, and we need to make sure that no stuffing comes out. You go ahead and cut it out. Whoa, there goes my eyeball. I'll have to get that in a second. Okay, once you have that, go ahead and tie another knot onto your thread. Okay, once you have that, you might need to get your other thread if it's not like that long, but this one's long enough, so you can kind of see I got about a foot here. So take the koala and find where his nose is. So mine is like right there. Kind of see where it sticks out a little bit more than the other places. And I'm going to see kind of where the ears look best. So I think they kind of look better like a little farther apart than like right up here. So like definitely down here is better than like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this side. I'm gonna take my thread and go through part of the bottom here. And again, I'm going to put part of this through, make a little lasso, make sure it stays in place. We do not want this one falling off. And I'm gonna see where I want this, right there. So I'm just going to take this and stitch it through and then pull it onto here. So once you have it like, kind of just like bobbing around like this, you're gonna hold it in place and then just start from this side of the ear and then go right into his head and make them be friends. And then we're gonna keep doing that. So it's like kind of like a running stitch, but we start in the ear and then we pop it through his head and pull it tight. Again, on the ear, poke it through the hole and pull it tight. Ear to body and pull it through. Oops. If that happens, just go ahead and put your thread your needle again and go through the ear. Make sure you make a connection with it. I'm kind of missing. Okay. And then pop it through the body and pull it through again. Maybe do that like one more time. Start with the ear, to the head, and pull it through. Okay, once you have a full circle all the way back, go ahead and just find a spot to make your knot. A little lasso. And one more. For good luck. And pull it through. And go ahead and trim the string. There, now you have one ear down. Woo, awesome. Now we're gonna do it to the next one. So I feel like I'm kind of short on thread once it gets about like this length, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that off and grab my last piece of thread, which there still should be 2 strands for this one piece. I'm gonna go ahead and tie this knot on here. So once you have that, we're gonna do the same thing. Take your little ball and then thread it through. Make a little lasso right here. Put your string through and then pull it tight. Now we're gonna find where it looks good on the other side. So I think right there, down here like that. So that's the middle right here. Go ahead and pull that through. This little pom-pom. And then go ahead and make your rounds. So go through the ear, then go through the body, and then pull it through. Okay guys, so I made it back to the beginning where I started, which was right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my little knot. Little lasso, pull it tight. Once again, pull it through and lasso it and pull it tight. And snip it off. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tie my string at the end just so I don't forget. Do it once and do it twice. So next I'm going to show you how to put on the eyeballs. So I'm gonna see kind of like where they look good. Like, so I'm gonna squish my guy down a little bit. I think maybe like right there in that area. So I'm gonna start with this one. Let's see. Yeah, I like it right there. So first I'm gonna take my needle and thread and just stick it where you just had your eyeball. You're gonna wanna make a little loop. And again, do what we did before and put your needle through the thread right there and make a little lasso to keep that in place. Then we're actually going to take the needle out and take it off the thread, and we're going to thread this through the eyeball over here. So make sure that you don't have any weird fuzzies on the end of your string. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that so it's flush. Maybe wet it with your finger a little bit. And then take your eyeball and find the hole and thread it through the other side. Like that. And then just slide it down the string until it's right where you want it. Once you have that, put your needle back on your thread. Just like that. And then you're going to pretty much just like do this, shove this through here like so. And then find the spot where you wanted like your eyeball like over here. Okay, so after that, go ahead and see what I mean, just like that. And then take your needle off again, and then take your other eyeball, and then you thread the thread through the other eyeball, just like you did the first time. And then slide it on down like that. And then thread it back through the needle, put it right underneath, like right back through where you just were. Like that. And then your eyeball should be in place. Once you have that, you kind of want to tie the knot secretly under the eyeball. So go ahead and try to do that. And make a little lasso underneath the eyeball and then pull it through. Mine are a little loose. I got some wiggly eyes. If that's the case, you can always like cut the string and just do it again. But I think it looks just fine. So next, after you do that, you're going to want to cut your nose out. So if you do not know what a koala nose looks like, it's more of a rounded rectangle, I would say. Almost like a square. They have very specific noses that makes them stand out from other marsupials. Okay, so I just cut like a little bit out first because mine was very round, my extra black piece. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it roughly the shape of a koala's nose. So I'm gonna make my rectangle about 1 inch wide at first, because you can always trim it later, but you should have enough extra black fabric. If you mess up the first time, should be enough for at least 3 attempts. So I have a shape about this big, but see how long it is? I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter because I want it to fit his face as well. So I think a nose like that looks pretty good. See how it's kind of like a rectangle, but also kind of round? We want it to be like that. So I have some glue over here on my table. If you have glue, you can definitely use some just to keep it tacked in place. I think it makes it a little bit easier to work with. So if you have Mod Podge, you could probably even use a glue stick if you have that. But I'm just going to put a little bit of tacky glue on the back here. Just like so, and then I'm gonna put it in place where I think it looks the cutest. That's going to help keep it in place. If you just want to glue it and you're happy with that and you think it's going to stay okay, then you can do that, but I am definitely going to sew it and tack it in place so it doesn't pull off and the edges won't fray either. So take your thread again, should have about this much left, maybe a little bit less, and just go ahead and tie your knot again. This will be your last knot for the thread, but it will not be your last knot because you have to tie it off at the end. So we got one more after this, I promise. Okay, so when you have that, you're going to want to hide your knot. So we're going to start from the other side, try to pick up some of the koala body with this. And then we're going to take it and we're going to go like over top of the nose and back under. So this is going to make sure that it really wraps the fabric so fraying happens less often. So we go under the nose and back up through the nose. And then pull it tight, under the nose and back up through the nose. Gonna do that all the way around his nose. So go ahead and do that and I'll meet you at the very end. Okay, everyone, once you get your little nose stitched all the way around and you get to the end, just go ahead and find any spot to tie your knot. Since it's black, you will not be able to see the thread at all, so you could even tie it on top. Not an issue this time. And there you have it. You have your very own little koala who looks pretty darn adorable.
Oh,
yeah, he's so cute.
squeeze them.
Oh yeah! Yeah, bug eyes for sure. What you can also do is what I saw, if you have blush at your house or maybe even a little bit of like pink paint, you can go ahead and like rub little some little color on his cheeks and make him a little blush panda, or not panda, koala, gosh darn it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this and you learned something new, maybe some new sewing techniques that you had never tried before.
I definitely have.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad. So until next week, hope you enjoyed it and we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye guys.